Hey everyone, Tom Seymour here from Adjustmaster, just here to do some updates. For those of you who are new to the show, I talk about independent feature-length filmmaking, everything from production all the way to distribution. I think it's a very important thing that people don't talk about a lot, is the sort of, I don't want to say business of filmmaking because that makes it sound like corporate or corporate, but that's not what I'm really talking about. Talking about getting your film out to the public, and in order to do that, you do have to put on your business and marketing hat just a little bit. And so part of the thing that I've been embracing over the last 10 years is the film festival circuit. My latest documentary feature, Video Dreams, which chronicles my 30-year journey to try to get on the shelf at Blockbuster Video, we entered in 130 film festivals, and we did that because, well, first of all, it was a pretty personal doc, and I was thinking, I don't know if anyone's going to play this. But lo and behold, so far, we have almost 50 official selections. We're at about 49. We have 24 wins from some of the top underground film festivals in the world. And so that's been a real, that's been great. And what that will do is it'll set it up so when we hit streaming and do physical media down the road, people will actually know what the heck it is. Like, the truth is, like, this is how we're getting on screens. Hopefully we'll get on something like 50 screens around the world, maybe more. And then, so when we go to streaming, people will be like, oh, I've heard of this, you know. So that's the goal. That's what our mission is. And so we, Tim Cooley and I, who he produces with me, and basically we put in a few grand a piece, and then we're basically, we entered all these festivals. One of the ones we entered recently was called Always Late TV Movie Awards. It's a fully produced award show out of Godfrey, Illinois. And they do these scorecards. So they nominated us for a Best Documentary award. But then they do this really cool thing where, so these are independent judges. Overall, we got a 9.7 out of 10, which is excellent. Creativity 9.8, writing 9.8, cinematography 9.2, performances 10, pacing 9.8, sound and pacing. So performances in a documentary, it's like, that's more of like who you're interviewing, if it was a genuine interaction, something like that. And each judge has individual notes. There's some pretty cool notes in here, very well outlined. The flow is really good. One of them said, I'm so glad this documentary exists, which was a sweet thing to say. And so I just kind of like their swagger. I like the Always Late Movie Awards. I like their graphic design, the fully produced award show you could watch on YouTube. And there's a tremendous amount of effort going on here. And I think it's paying off. I believe that it's growing as an award show. So, and it's very reasonable to enter. So I would say if you have an independent film, a short film even, or a feature, give this a try. I think it was like $15 or something, or maybe $20 or something. Nothing, pretty reasonable. That's another thing to do, is try to look for deals on Film Freeway. Video Dreams to screen at Savoy Lumiere Film Festival in Illinois, which is awesome. Look at this. Savoy 16 IMAX. Excellent. I think this is the one where the award ceremony takes place in the IMAX. I think Red Rose did that one too. That's really cool. Other film festivals coming up. We have East Hampton Film Festival. That is coming up tomorrow. And look how cool this is. Down here, there's a screening. Video Dreams at Visions Video. How awesome is this? This is a existing video store. Become a member. Visit us downtown in Northampton. So East Hampton and Northampton is where this film festival takes place, and it's a legit video store. Screening tomorrow. I did a whole introduction to the film. Hopefully they'll use that. Another super cool thing that just happened was we got into the Romford Film Festival in Essex, London area. and this is a top 50 UK film festival, and it's a good sign actually. Romford Film Festival, they're they call it audience facing film festival. It means that Video Dreams can compete in these festivals that aren't super specific about genre or exploitation or something like that. And so it was a pretty big honor. We also got into Spirit of Independence Film Festival in the UK back in the day, which is also more audience facing. So it's a really good sign. We have a number of film festivals we're trying to get into. We're trying to get into Raindance. We're trying to get into Chicago Underground. A number of other like heavy hitters. So this is like a really good. It's a really good sign that we're still kind of on a still going strong, and we plan to be in the festival circuit through 2026. New filmmakers in New York. We're supposed to schedule that for the summer. So I'm working on a new documentary called Enter the Television. It's got Lloyd Kaufman in it, Debbie Rochon. It's got Bill D. Russell, who's in Puppet Master movie. And we're going to have some really awesome big guests. They got Greg from Fanzine in it, Tim Coolig, John Brennan from Last Drive-In. And so it's going to be great. Basically, anyone in the United States kind of knows, if you're into horror, you kind of know some of those characters. It's about sort of the darker corners of commercials and independent television. So it concentrates on commercials a bit. And so I'm digging deep into methodology, into what psychological tactics they use in contemporary commercials. And one of the most common ones is it's definitely like a power of suggestion, but it's a variation of the Kuleshov effect that originated in 1918. Lev Kuleshov was a Soviet-era film director. And if you see this image, this actor is standing there. And so we'll just play it for a second. So when he screened this initially, people said, wow, that actor is amazing. That actor looks like he's starving. He's so hungry. And they said, excellent performance. Wow, that's amazing. They kept playing it, played this to a different group of people, and they said, wow, that actor looks so sad. Clearly a tragedy. God, that's so sad. Play this to a different audience. Wow, this actor looks lustful. When really it was all the same cutaway to the performer. And this is called the Kuleshov effect. By just showing the image of the person and then just showing a reaction to it, your mind makes the connection that that's what they're feeling. And what this does is it pulls down a resistance to a suggested idea. So when your mind fills in the gap, you have very little resistance to the concept. Whereas if the actor was like, God, I'm really hungry, and then we cut to a bowl, you might have more resistance to the performance. I'm like, he was okay. I don't know if I really believe them, right? But this thing is used in marketing. And so anytime you see a guy drinking a beer with beautiful women around him, okay, it seems very obvious. It's a psychological trick. It's like they're not saying it. They're not saying, if you drink my crappy beer, you will be very popular with women. By not saying it, that's the power. That's the power of suggestion. Your mind fills in the little thing. And the thing is, like, you're fully aware it's happening. You're like, yeah, this is so silly. We're supposed to think, if I drink this beer, then I'll be popular with women. But the fact that it's not directly stated is the psychological trick. that pulls down the barrier. So what that means is if you had a guy said, drink this beer and you'll be popular with women, it would be very funny, but your mind would immediately go, that's silly. I don't believe you. And that simple mechanism, not directly stating it and showing, connecting images that you then have to fill in the gap, is the basis for most advertising. And that's some of the examination of the Center of the Television documentary. There's some really interesting smoking ads with the Flintstones, and there's all sorts of different tactics. There's tactics where they play on emotion, they play on fear, all this type of stuff. And so one of the more interesting things is that, as it turns out, the idea of subliminal advertising is, the evidence for it is pretty poor. Even though in countries like Australia and the United States, I believe it's in Australia, there's actually like a law against it. And then in the United States, it's just the FCC can fine you if they find that you're trying to do subliminal advertising. But the thing about it is this was all based upon kind of a myth. This guy had an advertising firm, and he spliced a single frame. He claims to have it said, it was in a movie theater, and it said, eat popcorn and drink soda. And a single frame in the middle of a movie. And he claimed that it boosted the concessions sales. But he was never able to prove that it ever even happened, and he had no data on it. Yet it kind of caused this fervor. And ever since this idea of subliminal advertising, they claim it's like, founded. But when you see it used, there was a political ad that had a single frame portrayed a politician, and the term rats popped up, and they got in trouble for it, I find. But and when you see it, it's quick. But I think psychologically they just moved on, because they figured out, like, rather than have an advertising campaign for beer and splice a single frame that says, sexy or something like that, they will just literally show attractive people everywhere. So, like, it was just more effective to do that. The other psychological thing that they do is overwhelming amounts of advertising. So it's that kind of thing. If you repeat something often enough, people will believe it. McDonald's is a great example of that. The I'm loving it campaign it's really blatant. There's a jingle, I'm loving it. So they just hammer you with that for long enough where psychologically you're like, I'm loving it, even though, are you? So, these are pretty obvious things, but, we take them as normal. But when you think about it, it's obviously pretty manipulative and I think pretty interesting. So I think the doc will be good. It's going to contain stuff that a lot of you kind of know already, but I think it'll be presented in a way that people will be, that'll be an interesting watch. It also delves into the importance of public access television and cable access television. Cable television in regard to independent media. Getting independent movies and TV shows, especially on those with the cable back in the day, some of the free cable, and how that bolstered some independent films. And then also there was, in the 70s, you did have some actual independent television. Norman Lear, they talk about a lot. It did like the Jeffersons and shows like that. That's interesting to note because they were those shows were produced outside of the networks, because the networks were actually I think it was the consent decree. Basically, they said, the government said you can't own the network and every show on it, so you've got to take some indie stuff. So then Norman Lear came on and made the shows he did, and some of them were definitely controversial for sure. But a lot of people say that it was very outside the box and ushered in some progressive things, So just to complete the update, my documentary, American Expendables, the films in North American Pictures, distributed by Vinegar Syndrome, and the Blu-ray was artwork and everything was created by ETR Media, who is a partner label on Vinegar Syndrome. The Blu-ray is out now. It's $27. It's a good disc, actually. If you buy that, it has the feature-length doc American Expendables. It also has a director's cut of Atlanta College Profits called Fountain of Death, which was the name of it's like a sci-fi action film that was named. That was the name in I believe Italy and Spain. It was called The Fountain of Death. So I made a director's cut like that. And that's out. And then MVD actually has the original VHS Massacre and VHS Massacre 2 on sale for I think VHS 1 is like maybe $6. VHS 2 is maybe like 8 or 9. So some really good deals on some of the VHS Massacre releases. And so some really interesting stuff. Trauma, who I love, Lloyd Kaufman's like my hero. Trauma just gave me permission to do director's cuts of VHS Massacre 1 and 2. So it may be something that, way down the road, we're able to do like a box set of the VHS Massacre trilogy, which I think would be a lot of fun. Yeah. So anyway, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.